describe Jazz Power Initiative as a place where you can learn about your culture, and it's also helped me with my own personal development. It's a very fun place, and people should join it more often.
The 8-week training in the fall is an immersion for youth to get up to 3 days a week of an experience with Jazz Power. On Tuesdays, they're getting a theater class online with Mr. O. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, about half these students are taking private lessons, a private voice lesson, and a private piano musicianship lesson. And then all the students are coming on Saturday for a music and dance workshop. And now we've added the theater component as well on the Saturday. The core of our curriculum is our voice curriculum. And students learn at Jazz Power how the voice works. We call that functional voice training. They learn about the chest and head register and how to mix them, which is very important for singing all styles of American music. They also learn about the African American roots of jazz singing. And to get into that, we spend a lot of time with the blues. And as we always like to say, the blues is the roots, everything else is the fruits. So by immersing students in this blues language, they're learning how to slide, they're learning how to embellish a melody, they're learning how to put a lot of feeling and soul into their sound. They're also learning some basic things about American rhythm that comes from African American culture, such as the stomp clap, the shuffle rhythm, the swing rhythm, the clave, also call and response, making a soulful sound, and improvisation. In the piano musicianship, they're learning the basic notes of the keyboard, they're learning the pitches on the piano, they're also learning how to read treble clef, if they don't know that already, and they're learning some basic chords, some basic triads, so that as a singer, they could take some sheet music, pick out the melody, learn those pitches, learn how to start counting out the rhythms, and maybe even be able to play some chords to accompany themselves.
Well, I'm currently learning piano, but in all, I've also learned how to use my body as an instrument. Like not just using my voice, but actually having to fix myself in a certain way to learn how to use it properly.
I learned how to dance and sing jazz and be more social.
Our teaching artists are performing artists who are very accomplished in their fields and also very committed to supporting the growth of young people through teaching. Miss Antoinette Montague from the great city of Newark brings a wealth of experience that she got from her mentors, people like Etta Jones and Carrie Smith who mentored her. And then all the performing she does all year round, she brings that presence of the seasoned performer to her work with our children. And then she brings great attention to their needs, whether they need help matching pitches, whether they need help with breath support, posture, whether they need to understand how voice functions, but also how to interpret jazz in a way that's really unique to every individual.
Something's got to give. Awesome. Just go your way. Yes, yes. And laugh and play. Yes, yes. There's joy unknown. Yes, yes. In a mellow tone. All right, so come on, man.
We have also Mickey Davidson, who is one of the leading teaching artists in the whole field of teaching artists. Over 40 years, she's been teaching dance, mostly in the New York City area. She's taught college for 17 years. She was at Wesleyan College teaching African American dance. But she's always been committed to young people, and particularly people in our community, Washington Heights, Harlem, Inwood. So she's bringing them an orientation with their body, getting aware of the body in space, and also introducing them to some basic African American dance elements that come from the great tradition of swing dancing. They're learning how to really interact with music, with live music, with recorded music, feel the beat, feel the swing and the groove in their bodies. And then this year, for the first time, we have Mr. O, who's joined us on our theater faculty. And he's helping students understand basic stage directions, as well as how to develop a character and really connect your personal story with the text, whether that be a story that you're telling through a script or a poem or a song lyric. John Austria is our piano musicianship teacher. He's a wonderful jazz pianist and, again, an artist who's deeply committed to communicating with our young people and breaking things down in a way that's digestible, understandable, and exciting for them to learn. They're learning about triads, they're learning about the location of the pitches on the keyboard, they're learning how to read in treble clef. They're also learning how to keep a beat, keep a steady beat on the piano with that boogie-woogie rhythm, and some of them even the shuffle rhythm.
Here, you can just feel this here already, so when you change, just look at your left hand. Actually, let's try this. Do this one, I want to see if you can do it. Try with your eyes closed. Ready? That's the first one. Change to the second. Back to the first. Up to the G chord, don't look. And back. Perfect, so if you can do that, then you can just look at your left hand when you do the moves.
We believe that jazz music has essential wisdom for everyone. And we also believe that the African American and Latin American communities that created jazz have a right to access its fruits. And it's very gratifying to us that we have access to children from the Latin American community, from the Black community here uptown, and that this is an opportunity for them to connect with this culture, which is celebrated all over the world. So this is a great opportunity for students to connect with that history, that legacy, and really draw strength from it.
By exposing the students to the culture, which the culture is the experiences of the people, positive and negative, it sets them up so there's certain things they don't have to go through anymore. It's like, this is done. Let me put this on top of that. You know, and that's what you see in the music and the dance.
My favorite class is dance because I get to learn a new genre of dance, something that I wasn't used to before, which I'm used to hip hop. And in Jazz Power Initiative, I learned swing dance.
I want, ideally, if a child from Jazz Power came into a dance class, even if they're not perfect, the teacher will see by their ambiance, by the way they present themselves, you've been somewhere, you know. And teachers look for that, you know. Who you studied with, where you studied, you know. Then that teacher will be more inclined to give that student a little bit more because they know they got some. Well, let me just add this on there. Let me just, you know, I'm just part of a journey. You know, sometimes I circle back, like Kim and I, and it's a beautiful thing because when you circle back, then you see what they bring in, and then I grow. So there's that exchange.
I would describe the social emotional impact of the program as a very effective and constant one. I've been lucky enough to see all personalities of youth thrive in the different disciplines that they encounter here in the program. I have kids that are very outspoken, and when they come here, they have an extra boost of confidence. And I've also seen kids that are super mega shy, and by the end of the season, they're talking more, they're making friends, they're socializing in the schools, I've been told. So for the kids, it's quite impressive to see that this program, even though is concentrated on honing skills of performance like dance, theater, and singing, it also simultaneously does wonders for their personality and for their growth and for their development.
My thing was my son was very antisocial. He had like anxiety during the pandemic. So having him be around people that have the same interests as him or are like him was something very, I was nervous at the beginning, but I put him maybe with something different that could open doors for him in other aspects besides gaming or being at home, which was the best decision I've done.
Choosing to do the Jazz Power Fall edition was a decision I made so that he can continue socializing with people who has similar interests, similar, I guess, personality type that they have. And it worked out because they've made friendships. They've been chatting on the phone all night long.
Oh my God, yes.
About everything, jazz power stuff, non-jazz power stuff. So I feel that it helps to broaden, their scope in friendship, in interest, and other things.
Added bonus, I would say, is that also the families, the parents, the caregivers of the youth in our program have also managed to find a space for them to connect, to talk, to conversate, to share struggles, to share joys.
Jazz power has kind of helped me to maintain and foster a deeper friendship for, me as a whole without my child. Rosita knows, like, we can talk today and don't talk for 2 days, but then when we get back together, it's like
Pick up right where we left
right,
off.
right. So it's perfect.
We have a busy schedule, like, the hour, maybe 45 minutes we have together is like, wow, like,
Yeah,
it's a relief. It's a relief. It's something to take your mind off. When we have our boys together, or even all the kids in general, like, together, and they're doing their thing, and we're like, wow, we can actually just sit down and just have
Take a
mom
breath.
time or talk, and it's good, it's good.
Cada clase desde la primera vez ella llega muy, muy contenta y también compartiendo con nosotros las cosas que ha aprendido, las canciones, y es como es gracioso y agradable como cuando ella descubre artistas que uno conoce y que para ella como escucha por primera vez.
Yeah, I don't know if you can tell by looking at us, but we are friends because we're sitting right next to each other and doing an interview together. And she's laughing with me. Yeah, we are friends. She can be a little intimidated. Yeah, that's the word. But it's scary. It gets along well, I guess. Yeah, we have made some friends here. I love Jazz Power because there's many different activities and it's not just focusing on one thing, it's focusing on what's in the name, jazz. And there's so many different programs to do, so many different things to learn about, and it's really fun. Piano is my favorite because I got to sing this to Zio. Good job, Zio! Which scares me for some reason. I like private lessons because not everyone is really social and wants to do everything with everyone else, and someone might not be comfortable with someone.
Es una oportunidad el día tener de practicar y aprender sobre música y sobre habilidades que le van a ayudar a manejarse en público, pero también a disfrutar y un tipo de música que se convirtió en élite, pero que siempre ha sido de la gente.
It's not difficult to get your kid to be very busy, but it's important that you make choices as a parent that are smart choices for your child. And if your child is a jazz kid, if your child might be a little different than other folks, and the kind of child who beats to the beat of his own drummer or her own drummer, then this might be a program for you, because this is a place where children who sometimes feel like they don't fit into the thing where they, like a choir, they want you to be all the same, and that somehow that doesn't fit for them. Come to Jazz Power, you get to be yourself.
As teachers and designers, we also have to have the sensitivity of where the kids are at and how to best get the best out of them so that they'll feel good, that we're not overstressing them, so that when I do a gig, it's like, do you want an experience or do you want a performance? Because those are two different approaches, and here we try to balance the two.
My biggest takeaway from this program, I would summarize it in one word, and that would be connection. We here at Jazz Power Initiative strongly believe in connecting with our culture, our roots, connecting with the community that we live in and that we serve, and also fostering the possibilities of connecting with our individuality. And this is what we try to share with our kids, for them to be individuals that they can prosper and grow with their own voice. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, that we bring to the community a lot of opportunities to connect with many different things that are highly important for the human being.
Well, we're very fortunate at Jazz Power Initiative to offer this experience at no cost to families, because we have support for the first time from the National Endowment for the Arts, and we're very proud of that distinction. We also have gotten support for many years from the New York State Council on the Arts, from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, and from the Louis Armstrong Educational Foundation, which is actually the legacy of the great Louis Armstrong, who left all his royalties and everything to the future of jazz, and particularly programs like this that encourage youth. We also get funding from the Hispanic Federation and the Miranda Family Fund. The purpose of Jazz Power Initiative's youth program is for youth to make friends with jazz and make friends with each other in jazz. They come together to sing, dance, make music, enjoy the great treasures of Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, Louis Jordan, Celia Cruz, embody this music themselves so they can tell their own stories.
Take me right back to the track, Jack. Take me right back to the track.